Welcome to Drum Lab. I'm Von Barron. Thanks for being here. And I know that probably you're watching this later, which is great. And that's the joy of Drum Lab 2 is that you've got these little extra lessons every month that you can check out whenever you want. And let me get on back over here so I can see. Okay. So today we're talking about our topic. It comes from our good friend here at the school, Smitty. Smitty, thank you for the suggestion. This is about kind of like that smooth jazz beat. Now, before you all get down on me about smooth jazz, okay, I happen to enjoy it. I like it because it's got that swinging feel to it a lot of times. Not all the time, but most of the time. It's got that kind of swinging 16th note feel to it. And we use it a lot in jazz drumming, all the time. And that's why I created a little mini course about it, because I thought, I got to make sure I touch that bass. That's really important. So, we're not only playing things that are, swing grooves and Latin grooves and Brazilian grooves and things like that. We also need to throw in some stuff that's a little bit kind of the funkier stuff. One of those songs, that's a time I feel like making love, la 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 la. That one is really great. Play that song, that's usually how you do it, and it's got that swinging 16th feel to it. So today I want to cover how you get that groove, how you get the feeling, and give you some ideas how to kind of get into it. So up top I was playing some stuff for you that was in that feeling. Now I just played a little bit for you with that famous song, which I'm trying not to sing too much of the melody because YouTube doesn't like that. They come back and they find me. They go, hey, you can't use that. So anyway, let's kind of get into the feel first. So the feel is actually what I kind of think of it as like it's in between swing and straight. So you're not going to be, let me just jump over here real quick. Okay. You're not going to be playing things full on straight. So we have, give you a couple of examples here. All right, we've got our straight up funk stuff, which is, you think like Tower of Power. You think, I don't know, sometimes like fusion, a lot of fusion jazz, kind of that's kind of funky, straight kind of feeling. Play a little for you. I'm playing, really more straight feel. And it's not the swing feel like this. 1, 2, 3. Smitty, welcome. Glad you could be here, man. This is all for you, buddy. So, we have this, we have this kind of swinging feel. Well, it's not that. It's really something in between. So if I was to kind of break it down for you, it would be like start off by, you're playing like, you're not going to play that. You're not going to play this. So I'm playing triplets here. Or I can 16th notes. It's in between. Feel that? It's kind of in between. Let's slow it down. There's straight. And sometimes people will say, hey, well, it's a, why don't you just play a shuffle? And it's kind of close to that too, but a shuffle's a little bit over the top. It's a little too shuffly. It's not really in that pocket. The pocket is kind of really in between the 16th notes and the triplets. It's like in between that spot, right? In between that space. So you could certainly shuffle it, and there are different degrees of, oh, I need to put on my microphone for my snare drum too. I just took this to a gig the other day and I forgot to put the mic back on. Sorry. Got to remember that. So, excuse me. So, you've got this, there, that's better. So you could certainly do a shuffle groove. You could do like a halftime Purdy shuffle kind of thing. But it's not really quite that either. It's like that kind of, it's really that in-between thing. So, go listen to like the original smooth jazz guy, Grover Washington Jr. Go check out, his stuff. He's got it all over his recordings. And I play with a band here. It's called the Smooth Quartet, and here in Japan. And really great players, really great people. And I get to do a gig with them once a month or once every other month or whatever. It's kind of the only gig I do that's like that. Everything else is really straight ahead jazz. But it's really fun, and it's a great opportunity for me to kind of push myself and stretch into another genre a little more and just keep my feet wet in that area. But a lot of the tunes we do are like this, and and we do a lot of Grover Washington Jr. stuff, and we do just a whole bunch of different, smooth jazz artists from like the 90s and the 2000s, the 2010s, kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. But I think, the takeaway from all that is that you really want this in-between thing. You don't want it to be too shuffly, and you don't want it to be too straight. I'm the funky drummer, James Brown, Clyde Stubblefield. So you don't want that either. You really want that in-between thing. So, and if you want to get into this, I know some of you've already taken the course, but if there's other drummers out there, you're checking this out, you want to learn some patterns, some really cool, just some easy drum grooves to practice with the style and to learn more about it, check out my swinging 16ths funk jazz drumming course. It's short and sweet, just enough to give you a taste of what it's all about. But what we're going to do here too, first is I want to play a little bit of a video for you. This is from my gig I did last weekend. This is with a CD release. It's the first of 3 concerts we did for a CD release event for this really fine guitarist here in Japan named Jun Nakano. And we do, it's mostly, there's only one jazz standard tune, the rest of it's all his original stuff. And I really dig his music. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a trio, which is really special. No offense to vocalists, but it's nice to not have a vocalist. It's nice to just play, just instruments. And also what's really nice is, and no offense to piano players, I love playing with piano players, but it's also nice to play guitar because piano, you've got all these voicings going on. You've got this, you've got all the lowest notes and the highest notes, and they're always playing chords and filling in space. And with guitar, they can't do that. He's got 2 hands, and he's got one's got to be, framing the chords, and the other's got to be strumming them. So, it really leaves a lot of space, and that I love. I love space. You guys probably know that by now, being here at Jazz Drum School. I'm a big fan of space. So I love the space. It allows me to fill in things. It allows the bass player to do things more creatively. It just is a totally different vibe, and I love it. So anyway, I should ask really quick before I keep going. I forget to do this. Smitty, everything sounds okay out there? Let me know, because I really want to make sure. I think it does. I think everything's humming, but I'm not exactly sure. Just shoot me a little message if you don't mind. Just let me know. Let me get this going here. I'm waiting for you to respond. Okay, so it's all set up. Okay, jump back here. Okay, great. Thank you, Smitty. Appreciate it. That's great. All right, so let's go back here. Check out this. This is a little bit of playing. Drum camera angle. This is just it's about 4 minutes. I'll just give you a taste of kind of how I'm using this feel in the real world. This is a little more up-tempo. This is called Night Breeze by Jun Nakano, guitarist. Nice and soft, let the solo, let him build. Give him space to build a solo. And also the nice thing about playing these grooves in jazz, you don't have to play them loud. Just play them with the same sensitivity that you do normally with playing jazz. Just change the feel. I'm moving to the ride cymbal. I'm just staying on the hi-hat. Now I go to the ride cymbal. This gives us another level, another place we can go with the song. So you kind of get the idea, right? And the nice thing about this feel too is you kind of want to relax it. And I'm always saying that here at the school, like, if you've got perfect metronomic time like this, and this is like right down the middle is going to be like perfect metronome time, clicking, right? And you've got, depending on where you're looking at this from, got some kind of hair on my face, I can't find it. Anyway, so you've got a little bit in front of the beat or a little bit behind the beat, okay? You always want to be a little bit behind the beat. That's a much better place to be, because if you're a little bit behind the beat, you actually, the music relaxes more. If you push it, if you're right on it, it's okay. If you're on top of it, it's not, because it's not going to work. It's going to feel too rushed and too frenzied. You really want it to be just relax. And oftentimes what I'm doing is I'm actually pulling back slightly with my snare drum. So if I play right on the beat, hear the difference? If I play on top of the beat, can you feel the difference? Now I'll pull back again. Hear that? It's really subtle, but that's a big difference, and that's huge in drumming in general. And often the difference between the drummers that get the gigs and the drummers that don't are the drummers that have that feel. They're able to dial that in, pull things back, relax things, because that makes everybody else relax, creates a deeper pocket for everybody to have fun in. If you don't do that, it just feels like you're rushed from beginning to ending. And I'll play with some musicians. I'll play like that. I'll play with them, one time, and I can see that that's just where they feel the time, and I won't play with them much anymore, because I don't want to feel that way when I'm playing music. I want to feel like we're all in this together. We're listening to each other, and we're allowing the music to expand. And when you do that with this style of music, it really helps, because then it suddenly goes from being, I would say, like, hair band 80s rock and roll feel, which was always like on top of the beat, pushing, to really just relaxed, getting back to like Erykah Badu kind of feeling. Which brings up another point. This feel is used all the time in, as certainly, old Erykah Badu tune. Just like that kind of feel is really important in R&B also. So you want to. This is a good one to know. And you're going to use it all the time. I can't tell you how many times I did wedding gigs, especially in Hawaii. Tons and tons of wedding gigs, and they always wanted to hear feel like making love. I mean, every time. So it was like played that song, hundreds of times. So really, it's really valuable. It's a great feel. I'm glad you asked about it, Smitty. Let me get back over here to the thing. Okay, let's see what you got here. Turning chops into 4-bar fills. Okay. When I go to these jam sessions, they play more smooth jazz and swing. Oh, interesting. Still going to send you my video. Yeah, please. You just upload it to like if you got a cloud service like Dropbox or Google Drive or something, just upload it there and just share the link with me. I want to check it out, man. That goes for any of you out there. You got something you want me to see, just send it to me. I love to watch my students play. So, I see. What are some of the tunes they're doing, Smitty? Let me know. So, and let's talk about tempo. When you're doing the tempo, when you're playing slower, obviously it's going to have more lilt to it. when I'm playing fast, it's going to be straighter, right? Which is just common sense, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear. That it changed. The feeling is still there. The feeling is still there, but it's just slightly different when you're playing it faster. It just straightens out a little bit more because you just have to. There's just no way to do it any other way. So turning chops into 4-bar fills. Okay, we could do that too. We could focus on that. This thing I love about Drum Lab. You know, you guys give me your questions and we just roll with it. So chops into 4-bar fills. I think what you mean is how do you take like hand patterns? I'm guessing, like you know, like a inverted paradiddle diddle, something like that. Oh, Mr. Magic. Okay, yeah, I do that one too on my gig. Yeah, got it. You got the Grover Washington thing going on, like I was saying earlier. Yeah, well, I mean, I would just say roll with it, Smitty. And the thing about when you're going to these things, these jam sessions, which I'm really happy you're doing, is use it also as an opportunity just to meet other musicians and see if you can connect outside of the jam session. Organize your own things. Several of my students at the school are doing that, where they actually set up something at their house and they invite people over to play. They get together once a week or once a month or whatever, and it's a great opportunity just to play. And outside of the situation, the playing situation that you're in when you're on stage and the pressure of that, it's like suddenly you're just playing together and you can focus on a lot of those important things like listening and conversing with your instrument. So so if you could do that, use it as a great opportunity to do that. I really would encourage you to try to organize something outside of the jam session, and use it as a time that you can connect with other musicians and kind of form your own band or your own jam group, you know, whatever you want to do. But that's what I would suggest you do also. If you're not already doing it, that would be a great thing to do. Well, let's talk about 4-bar. Let's talk about taking like chops and turning them into 4-bar fills. So my thing has always been when I'm playing fills or I'm playing solos, is I'm always thinking of connect the dots. And what that means is, and of course I talk about this at the school, right? So what that means is, like when you're in kindergarten and you're drawing a picture and doing connect the dots, you're going to follow, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, A, B, C, D, whatever. You're following it. You're drawing a picture. At the end, you get a picture of a crab or a picture of a smiley face or a train or something, right? So what you're doing there is you're have a one dot, you're drawing a line, you're connecting to the next dot, then to the next dot. I think of drumming as exactly the same way. So I don't think in terms of chops. I think in terms of dots. So I think like that dot is going to be an accented note. So my phrase, might be, let's keep it in the same style here. So if I want to play 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got this kind of dun dun dicka 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 dicka, right? I have this kind of thing happening. I just made it up. I didn't plan this in advance. So, all right, so I've got this, right? Those are my dots. Nothing fancy there. I'm just playing a rhythmic phrase, right? But what if I went like this? Suddenly now it's more interesting, right? Now I can move it around the kit. Right? So now I can just do it, bring in my bass drum. And now I've got these kind of down, down, dot, down, dot, down, dot, down, dot, down. This is not complicated, right? But what I can then do is I can fill in between those dots. Ah. Kind of hard to fill in on the bottom. I could do it that way. So I'm filling in between. Guess that works. Try that. Right? Right? So there's a lot of different ways you could do it. But all I'm doing basically is I'm starting with those dots. And why do I say the dots? Because those are the easiest way to get into anything. If you come at it where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to play some kind of, inverted single paradiddle diddle. You can do that, and that works, but there's a limit to the creativity of what you can actually do. And there's a limit to how much it's actually going to fit with the rest of the band, right? So our goal is to actually always be interacting with what's going on around us and drawing our inspiration or ideas from what other people are playing on their instruments. If I come at it, I'm thinking I've got to take this hand pattern, I've got to turn it into a 4-measure phrase, not going to work so good. So if you're taking this and for instance, what you want to do is you want to move it to like a trading fours, if that's kind of what you're getting at. You just expand this idea, So you take that first one would be your first, your kind of like your anchor 2-measure phrase, and after that you play something that's maybe complementary to it. I just did 4 measures. I just took it and did a little variation on it for the second 2 measures. Can you hear that? So the first 2 measures, second 2 measures, right? So to me, the easiest way is not to think of chops. The easiest way is to think of phrases. Because when you do the phrases, the chops happen automatically, right? The greatest drummers are thinking phrases. They're not thinking, I got this chop into this chop, or this hand pattern to this hand pattern to this hand pattern. They're thinking phrases. It's like they're able to step back and see the forest. They're not down in the forest looking at all the trees. They're like able to step back and see the whole forest to get the whole picture. And so they go and they approach it that way. So let's play around with that a little bit. I'll play some groove with it, and I'll do the first one will be the da 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 da, and then I'll do a second one, a variation on it, and I'll come back to it every time. And I'll trade fours with myself. So I'll play the kind of smooth jazz groove, 4 measures, and then I'll do this 2 measures of this da 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 da, and then 2 measures of something else. Go back to the groove and do it, and we'll see how many times I get through it. 1, 2. Getting my counts wrong. One. So I have to decide what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Yeah, let's do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be a little easier, because otherwise it's going to be like really long, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to take forever to do all these examples. So I'm going to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, like I was doing earlier. Okay, just want to make sure that I'm clear and you're clear. 1, 2, 1. All right, so just to give you that idea, kind of what you can do. And you notice that even in my fills, I'm not overly swinging them, I'm not overly shuffling them. I'm not going, right? Just that slight swing in there. It's really more straight. It's more almost like bebop eighth notes. Kind of feeling, right? So match it. Make it, your fills are just an extension, or your fours are an extension of your groove, basically. Especially in this style. I mean, every style, but especially this one. If you've got this groove happening, you don't want to get too far away from where that is, in your fills. You want to keep everything simple. And what you'll see, Smitty, is you'll see little by little, you'll be able to, once you get that established, solid, like you always go back to that same da 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 ba da ba da ba da. You could choose whatever you want. Sit down and come up with your own two-measure phrase, whatever you want. And what you're going to find is that your playing will start to open up, and you'll start to fill in interesting ways in between those dots, right, that you didn't do before. See, it taps into another area of creativity in our brain that we often don't tap if we don't do exercises like this. If we're just focused on these patterns and how can I get this pattern to work around the drum set, that's step one. But step two is really getting to that place where your patterns are in your hands, right? You've got your paradiddle patterns all kind of internalized, right? And then what you end up doing is you just use these dots and fill in with those diddles, and you fill in with, some singles and mixing singles and doubles, which ends up being kind of like paradiddles, because your hands are already trained to play the paradiddle feeling. So then it becomes easier to put that into play with the dots. So I hope that hope that makes sense for you guys. It's something I go into a lot more hands-on with private lessons, but I hope this is getting kind of getting into this, and also more in the soloing course as well, and the fills course. So let me go here. What do we got here? Okay, here we go. Oh, Robert, thanks for joining. Okay. Robert, you've spoken in the past of shifting a phrase along the beat count, starting on 1, then the end of 1, then beat 2. Can you give an example, and will it fit this sort of groove? Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Let me see, where would I know? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to change the phrase, Phil. Do a different one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's go. Let's do something simple, really, really simple, so that you get the feeling of. Okay, let's take this as an example. So if I'm playing along, here's my quarter note. One, or actually it's half note. Kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. So I can start that phrase on count 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I could also start on the end of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how it sounds different? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of, I guess the end of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Or the end of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how it's working out? And so you get all these variations. So if I go back to the groove, and I'll see if I can remember to do it. I'll start it on count 1, then I'll do and of 4, and I'll do and of 1. See how it sounds. 1, 2, 1, 2. That time I doubled the length because I wanted you to have time to process. Okay, he's in the groove now. Now he's starting the fill, so that you can get the idea. So the first one I did was on count 1. The next one I did was the and of 4, prior to count 1. And then after that I did the and of 1. So I'm taking those in the same basic sticking pattern, same idea, and I'm just moving it around. So you can hear also in the feel, right? It's not. One thing I encounter a lot in Japan is that musicians are taught, when they're taught here about swinging triplet notes, they're taught more in a classical sense. That kind of shuffly feeling. And so I work with a lot of musicians, a lot of growing musicians here about kind of straightening out that feel a little bit. So rather than being, it goes this kind of feeling, and it just smooths the whole thing out, and it makes the groove more buttery too. What you got there? Okay, Avon, you okay? Yeah, sweet. Subtle changes, but noticeable. Good. I'm glad you can hear it. Yeah, it's very subtle. You know, that's the thing about drums is there's so much subtlety that's missed a lot of times, and it's the subtlety is where the secret sauce is. You know, that's where it's all really happening. So we want to make sure that we are able to hear those subtleties. Um, you know, it's just a really important thing. So again, fills. So I'm taking that really, simple phrase, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're just playing eighth notes basically. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. One thing I like to do too is when I'm making these dots is I like to have space. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. There's space there. If I fill in every nook and cranny, 1 and 2, there's no breath there. If I think like a sax player has to breathe when they play the horn. They have to take a breath. So if I take a breath too, it makes everything more natural. 1, 2, 3. Even that 1 and 2 and 3, I can take a breath there too. 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, then I'm breathing. So something to think about too with your fills, with your solos. Add in some space. And you can also, Robert, back to that idea about where you're moving the pattern around. Within that same drum fill, I did it two different places. I did start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I started on the and of 4, right? And then I did it on the next time I did it on count 1. So it's like a call and response in a way. 1, 2, 3. See that? So it just was different. I'll count it again for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, and a 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See what I'm doing there? Now, just ideas. But again, Smitty, I really would encourage you to focus on the dots. Get those dots established. Those dots are really where everything happens. And then everything, comes in between. And it doesn't matter if I'm soloing or I'm doing drum fills, anything. I'm really thinking that way. I'm thinking, what's my overarching, phrase that I want to play, not what are the patterns I need to do. So that being said, you've got to learn the hand patterns. I mean, you got to learn how these things feel, right? How does a paradiddle feel? How does a single paradiddle feel? How does an inverted single paradiddle feel? How does a flam accent feel? How does a patafla-fla feel? How do all these things feel, right? When you get that muscle memory happening, then it starts to come through naturally in your phrasing. So it's kind of another way to approach it that I think is going to be much more effective for you. So anyway, I hope that helps. Now, let me give you some examples of some grooves or a groove that you can use that's really easy to get into. We all know these grooves. So if you go back to, the Funky Drummer or things like that, you could take any of those grooves. But let's take this, this really basic rock groove that we all learned when we were starting out. I remember when I started off, we had the Carmine Appice drum set book. And I looked at that guy and I thought, that's how I have to look, to play drums? I thought, well, it's kind of scary. I don't think I could do that. No offense, Carmine. Your book was very helpful for me. But I just didn't, I was like, what? You have to look like that to play music? And obviously I don't have the hair, so that would have never worked out for me. But fortunately I found jazz, and that was my voice. So, but the idea was that you learn these basic patterns, If you go back to the 1960s and you listen to, at the time, it was really funny, actually, kind of comical, because rock and roll was just taking over, and the jazz community were really terrified. They were like, what's going to happen to us, Suddenly nobody wants to listen to our music anymore. So what they started to doing was kind of incorporating those beats and those ideas, that feeling into their music, and you hear it a lot. And Cannonball Adderley and even Buddy Rich was doing that kind of stuff in his tunes, and they're trying to like make it more hip, I guess. But the end result of it is that you ended up, moving into fusion. You moved into, rock jazz kind of stuff, which is great. It moved us and kept the music evolving. And now we've, if we take that basic beat, I'm just, I'm trying to play it as straight and as square as I can, and it's hard for me to do that. But it's, that's the idea. Then add a little swing to it. Right? It's that da-dome, 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 da-dome. And so we're not going, right? It's not this kind of feeling, right? It's a tighter feeling. So when I'm doing my bass drum, for example, da-dome, da-dome, they're really tight, really close to each other. The notes are very close together. Okay? So those notes they're a little tighter. They're not just, they're this kind of tight feeling. That works really well, okay? But again, the idea is you want to live in that area that's in between, and you don't want to live in the and you want to live in, you want to live in. It's that kind of in-between place where you want to be. And the cool thing about that too, so Smitty, if you're on the gig, or you're a jam session, and you decide, okay, I'm playing along in this groove, and you could take it in another direction. You could start swinging it, and they would have no choice. They'd have to go with you. If you feel comfortable enough at the session, I mean, to me, it's what jam sessions are for. It's called a jam. It's not called a performance, so it's called a jam. So go and jam, like take it another direction, arrange it a little differently. If there's a vocalist singing You know, not on the Grover Washington Jr. tune usually, but if there's a vocalist singing, you got to be more cautious because usually, especially amateur vocalists, are not going to know what's happening. They're going to be like deer in the headlights. But if you're you know on there with just musicians jamming, try it, man, because you're already in that feeling. It's really easy to go in and out of it. See that? It's kind of fun, something you can also explore and experiment with, because those feels are really connected. And one other thing, also, kind of this New Orleans kind of feeling. Smitty, you're down there in Nolens, right? So, I mean, down there in Louisiana. So, you know about that. So, you've got this kind of, to me, there's like all this interconnectivity. There's all this overlap between these grooves, right? So, because everything comes from something. Nothing is like just, oh, there's an alien spaceship came down and dropped this new groove on us. What's this, It's all connected. So you've got this, where is that from? Right? Or, where's this from? Right? You've got this, it's all connected. So it's cool, you can explore going back and forth between different feels that are also related. They're like family members, So like the second line is related to swing, and swing is related to swing funk, and you can mix them all together and try different things. And one last thing you can do that's really cool too is you could throw in some song go, because I found that, and I teach this in the Brazilian drumming course and the Latin drumming course also. You've got this kind of feeling. That's the Brazilian 16th note, Brazilian 8th note feel. See how it can kind of goes well with it too. You've got this song go groove, and it goes well with the hip hop, swinging kind of thing, and you can. It just all fits nicely together. So I also encourage you to blur those lines. Don't think of it like, oh, this silo is this style, this silo is this style. Really try to blur those lines. I'm always saying to drummers, let's keep jazz going, especially jazz drumming, right? And the more that we blur the lines, the more chance we have for that to happen. If we just get stuck in like, well, everything has to be like it was, like Philly Joe did. Wow, I don't think even Philly Joe would be doing the same thing today. I think he would have moved on. He would have explored. Think about Miles Davis. For his whole career, he said he never wanted to go back and play the same way again. He's like, I always want to keep expanding. I think if we incorporate some of that thinking into our playing, and we try to blur those lines and explore and experiment, gosh, we're going to come up with new things that maybe no one has ever heard of, and they're going to think that an alien spaceship came down and dropped that in our lap. So just ideas. All right, any other questions before we wrap things up? I'll just do a little playing. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll sign off for the day. I got other ideas coming up here also for drum labs, but you guys got other things you want to. Thanks, Robert. Anything else you guys would like to see, let me know. I'm always happy to do it. The drum labs are for you. So, and I'm going to cover some topics that I haven't really covered in detail at the school. Things like song endings, I think, is going to be really important. I got to do a little thinking how I'm going to put that together. That's a really an important thing for us to know. There's like certain ways that people end jazz tunes that I want to cover, and just some other things that I think are important. They're not like full-on courses, It's not like a whole course about song endings. Like, what's that? But I think just a hour and a half drum lab about it would be helpful. And I think we can cover a lot of ground in there. I can give you specific examples. I can play examples from gigs I've been on. You can hear the endings and how they're playing. Things like that. I mean, but I really want to make sure I'm covering stuff that's important in the real world. This is not a jazz That's all. Okay, thanks, Smitty. This is, I'm just not at all about giving you a bunch of fluff, like learn this drum lick and somehow it's magically going to transport you to the world of music. It doesn't. So I'm going to teach you the stuff that's going to get you there. It's going to get you comfortable playing with other people because I know that's what you want to do. So anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for being with me today. And thank you, all of you who are watching this later. And I look forward to connecting with you here at the school. If you've got any questions, feel free to message me. And you can also email me as well. And it's just very easy to remember. It's just Von Baron, VONBARON. I'll put it down below in the link also. Well, I won't write it out as with the @ symbol because then bots find it and they start sending me all kinds of crazy emails. So, but I'll write it in a way that you'll understand. But it's Von Baron, VONBARON, @jazzdrumschool.com. All right. Thank you. Yeah, yep, song endings, please. Yeah, I know that's a big one, man. It's a big one to know, so we'll get on it. Maybe that'll be the next one. All right. Thanks so much. Always great to connect. And I'll see you guys at the school. Keep swinging. Aloha.